Hey everybody, and welcome back to another week at Beyond the Trailer Park. And yes, I know my camera's frozen. Give me a second. It's been weird. Hang on, come back, come back. Oh, where's my camera? I'm working on it. But yeah, we've been off for a couple of weeks now, and it's going to be great to get back. Why does my camera not working? Oh man. Yay for live. But yeah, I've been down in the US, in Georgia, and all over places, traveling around, visiting with Miss Ashley and all those folks. And we just got back on Saturday morning at like 2 a.m. So, time to get back at it. Hopefully, Beth will be joining us shortly. She I think she's been having some ISP issues. So hopefully she'll be along shortly. But joining us this evening, pinch hitting kind of for Miss Ashley, we have Ms. Morgan Stringer. Welcome back, Morgan. Morgan. Is she frozen? Uh-oh. There she is. Come on. Okay, well, I'm not
Okay,
hearing
I think
you.
I'm on now. Okay. Yeah,
There we
my
go.
computer
Okay.
froze too, so I guess we're all bringing equipment issues over here.
Yeah,
But
equipment issues. Like my camera's not actually functioning right now. Yay. But this week, we are also happy to have back with us Ms. Chris Rodda, the author of Liars for Jesus and Liars for Jesus 2. Welcome back, Chris.
Glad to be here.
Awesome. And for those of you who may not have caught our first episode with Chris, she has made it her life's work to discredit a certain history revisionist asshole by the name of David Barton, which is the entire point of Liars for Jesus and Liars for Jesus too. So we're very glad that there are people like you out there, Chris, who are devoted to debunking this idiot because far too many people believe him.
I'm watching on YouTube here, like while I'm watching this, and
Okay.
people didn't think I was Satan before. They're gonna now because I look bright red, don't I?
A little bit. It's the lighting. You're all good.
Look, there's some little horns on my head.
I have a pair of those actually.
I wonder if this camera's adjustable in any way.
Well, so for those who missed it before, can you tell us a little bit about how you got into debunking David Barton and all of that fun stuff? And I'm going to try and get my camera to work while we do that.
Well, it actually had started because of someone who has recently been in the news again. Our old friend Judge Roy Moore down there in Alabama. It was back during the battle over his rock, Ten Commandments rock in the courthouse back in, it was like 1990 or 2002. I guess it was when he was writing or fighting keep that rock there, and there was some articles on AOL. Clicked on the old AOL message boards. When you went to a story, you could click on the message board and started seeing all the revisionist history stuff. Got introduced to the work of David Barton. Started getting into all these lengthy history debates with people, and then people started saying you should write a book. And even though I had never written anything before in my life, I wrote Liars 1, and that's how I got into it. So we can all just thank Roy Moore for that, who's now been removed from the bench again, but he'll probably be reelected again anyway the next time there's elections, just like the last time. So I don't think he's really going anywhere. But
wow.
But yeah, he's
just give me 1 second. I'm gonna turn off my video program and back on because I'm not sure why it's doing that. But carry on. Okay, now you're seeing a thing. Yeah, I don't know what the dealio has been with my camera, but it did an update Saturday night and it's been wonky ever since. But it'll take a minute to come back up. But in the meantime, so Liars for Jesus, basically you were going through point by point and debunking virtually everything Barton had written about, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, the Liars for Jesus books are not just debunking Barton. It's, I mean, he's featured quite prominently, of course, but it's debunking lies by other history revisionists also, and even where a lot of the revisionist lies have come up in Supreme Court decisions, and
Right.
in Volume 2, there's a lot about how the stuff has gotten into the public schools now through the
Right.
National Council on Bible Curriculum in Public Schools. So the Liars books are, you know, mostly about, well, there's really no revisionist lie that Barton either he's had nothing to do with. Like either he has repeated it, made it up, spread it in some way. Like so even though there's a lot of other history revisionists and other places where these lies are spread, I'd say like 95% of them have something to do with Barton. Even if he wasn't the one who made it up, he might have embellished it even more, or
Right.
repeated it. But a lot of these lies date back to like the mid 1800s.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Realize back. You think the battles now are vicious, like the Bible riots in the like 1830s, where like people were actually like killed and buildings burned and crap because of the fight over Bible reading in public schools. There's
Right.
the fight over Sunday mail delivery and all these different things in the 1800s. A lot of the lies that are still used today were invented way back then.
Huh.
And people just perpetuate it.
Right. Well, then someone like Barton finds them in like some old revisionist history book from like the 1850s, and then he comes up with his version of that particular lie, like say the lie about Congress printing Bibles in the Revolutionary War. That lie has been around since the 1800s.
I remember being told that by a bunch of Christians like 10 years ago. It was pretty sad. And they
Now, do you think?
like, yeah, go ahead, Morgan.
I was going to say, do you think that Barton actually believes his lies, or do you think that he is?
No. He knows their lies. There's some of the people who repeat them. Believe them. Barton's followers, for the most part, genuinely believe them. Okay, genuinely believe he's rescuing history. Some of the other history revisionists absolutely know their lies and still use them. So, and you can tell the difference. When you really get into this, you can tell the difference. Like, remember D. James Kennedy? Okay, he put out a lot of stuff copying Barton's lies, books he wrote. I think he really was stupid enough and believed them because, like, he couldn't even like get them right when he like repeated them. Like, he'd mess up the lie and have them come up with a new version of the lie, like probably unintentionally.
I'm just going to pop out and right back in because I'm a green screen and that's really irritating. So I think I have the select. I'll be right back. You two carry on.
Okay. Wait, I seem to have lost both these.
No.
You still there? Oh, you're still there. Okay.
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah, I didn't know if he truly, believed this, or if he, just
Now,
part of me thought that he knows better.
Yeah, he's a very deliberate liar, and one of the ways you can tell is and this is with any, not just Barton, but any of the history revisionists, okay? Barton in particular, though, like, he's not citing some other history revisionist, okay, where he might have read this lie in somebody else's book and he really believes it and is repeating it. He's citing the original documents in quite a, not all the time, but most of the time, okay? And that means that he is the one who is actually editing the versions that appear in his books where he's removed words and this and that. He's not copying that edited version from somebody else and thinking it's true. So you can really tell a lot from like what they're citing as the sources. But then if you get like someone else who cites David Barton, they may or may not actually believe it. They may believe it because it's from Barton, but they're not doing the actual original editing and altering of whatever it is that's being misquoted or made up or whatever. Mm. So yes, Barton absolutely knows, and he changes his lies. He'll change his stories on certain things depending on what he needs to use it for at the moment. So, I mean, if he believed one version of it, how could he be using a different version of it when he needs to make one point and then another completely different version when he needs to make another point?
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
So it's interesting, like, so what, knowing that if he knows his shit's fake, what do you think his goal is? Like, just to get money and fame for himself through the gullible?
No. It's political. It's almost entirely, it's political power. The Seven Mountains, the
right.
Dominion, take control of the Seven Mountains, government, education, whatever. It is absolutely for,
right.
political.
So he is a dominionist, and Beth has talked about those folks before. The Seven Mountains mandate comes from the Wedge document, which is where they actually state their plan to try and take over everything. And if we look at like what's going on with education and textbooks in Texas, for instance, they're scarily making headway in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a lot of people didn't realize, with the textbook thing, is that, people had this kind of misconception, oh, well, it's just Texas, it's Texas's problem. Yeah. No. Texas, as Texas goes, so goes the rest of the country, because the textbook publishers, Texas is their biggest market. Yeah. So what Texas wants is going to get into the textbooks to, they're not going to say, oh, well, Delaware is a little tiny state, they want something else. They're going to go with the biggest market that's buying the most textbooks. So Texas can steer. It used to be, California used to be able to balance that out, but at some point, I think because of budgetary problems in California or whatever, they stopped buying new textbooks, and which gave Texas then the opportunity to be the sole steerer of what was going to be in the textbooks for the next 10 years.
So they've got the monopoly on what goes in those things.
Yeah.
That's dangerous.
Yeah, and Barton boasted about it, like on his radio show, about how they were being able to do this, to change the textbooks for the whole country. So it's just not just some crazy Texas problem. This is a problem for the whole country.
Absolutely. And so his goal is to twist things around to what he and his, quote, people want everyone to believe. They don't care whether it's true, but it manipulates things in their, you know, like his whole thing is there's no separation between church and state. It should all be the same. And, you know, church should just take over everything pretty much. And he's trying to create proof to back this shit up, basically.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
David Barton, now I've seen some examples of, especially in the area of history, that have been influenced by David Barton, but do you think that he's also had a pull on the direction that science textbooks are going in as well?
Yeah, there's other revisionists and whatever involved in that, you know, like the you know, the science, you know, creationist crowd, whatever. I mean, they're not totally separate, but Barton's thing was mainly like the social studies curriculum and the, you know, the history, but you know, they're all, I mean, they're all like working together, like, you know, they all want their nice little theocracy and everything based on the Bible, and but Barton is their history guy. Barton is their social studies guy. You know, Barton's the guy who can convince, you know, untold thousands and thousands and thousands of people to vote against their best interests by convincing them that, you know, Jesus was against the minimum wage and capital gains taxes by twisting different parables from, I swear to God he does this. Is this the parable of the one with the workers in the vineyard, where the you know, first shall be last, last shall be first thing.
Right.
Where the guy goes in, the vineyard owner goes in, one guy gets one guy who starts working in the morning, one who starts working later in the day, one who starts working even later, and pays the first. That is twisted by Barton into Jesus. The message of that was that Jesus was opposed to minimum wage.
Right. And that's like the one Beth likes to bring up fairly regularly. It's a quote from somewhere, and I don't remember where now, but those who do not work do not eat. And she says they like to twist that into why poor people shouldn't get any assistance. Like,
yeah, because that's from Paul.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's actually, and she talks about how it's antithetical to actually the teachings of Jesus, because obviously I don't think that you could read the New Testament in its entirety and then come to that conclusion, but that's what David Barton does. And I think what terrifies me also is how he's used his quote-unquote historical findings as a basis to sort of get his door into also the legal system.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, it's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying how many people, you know, I mean, don't even get me started on the Liberty Council right now, but
oh, my favorite. Let's talk about the Liberty Council.
Go for it.
Shackelford accused me of coming dangerously close to libel when I wrote about how he actually like lied in a Supreme Court case. I wrote this on Huffington Post. He did. He really did.
Wow.
And you know, when someone came dangerously close to libel, means they got nothing. You know, it wasn't libel. It was the truth. But I guess he was trying to like intimidate me, whatever.
Oh, yeah, if it had been libel, they would have sued you.
Yeah, exactly. They wouldn't sit there going, well, you know, we might have a case. They would just, you know, you'd get a subpoena and that would be it.
Yeah, seriously. And yeah, the best defense to libel is the truth. But yeah, it's amazing that they're able to lie and get away with this because, you know, as an attorney, you have to follow Rule 11, which is you're supposed to do your due diligence and your due research before you even file a case. Now, and I would assume also that would follow with amicus brief that you file with the freaking Supreme Court of the United States. I mean, It's the highest court in the land. I mean, I just don't see how any of them are still practicing law if they are still, you know, saying these flat out lies because, you know, they give us these
Well,
little
then
stories
they've
in
appeared
law
in
school.
court opinions. But it's not just the lawyers. In Liars 1, I gave a number of examples, like at the end of different chapters on different topics, of where the lies that I had debunked in those chapters actually appeared in Supreme Court cases, like when Rehnquist was a big one, of course, and others were being. This book by Robert Cord was a history revisionist. I mean, I don't know if he's still alive or not, but in 1982 came out with this book that all the Supreme Court justices, the right winger, Christian nationalist type ones like Rehnquist, were citing in their Supreme Court opinions, right? So then, like they'd cite one, and then of course the next case would cite that previous case until the original source of the lie was lost because they were citing a previous opinion. Okay, you wouldn't believe. I mean, that was one of the things that people said was like the most shocking thing that was in Liars 1, was how many of these lies are actually in Supreme Court opinions. I mean, some of them are in dissenting opinions, but they're still in Supreme Court opinions. And whether it was a dissenting opinion or, the opinion of the court, that lets like Barton or somebody say, see, the court said it in this case, even if it was in a dissenting opinion. And he does that with historical cases as well as modern cases from like the Rehnquist court or whatever. So yeah, these lies have actually made their way and are just really in Supreme Court opinions now, and multiple ones because of the citing of a previous Supreme Court opinion.
And also, dissenting opinions often become future law.
Right.
And it's somebody gloms onto what they want to be right. And like you said, some of these errors are close to 200 years old. Somebody back then is like, well, I want it to be this. And it just perpetuates until, somebody with slightly more credibility gets a hold of it, and maybe they believe it, maybe they don't, but they use their credibility to further the inaccuracy down and down and down until you've got stupid shit being quoted in Supreme Court opinions.
Well, one of the best examples or worst examples of someone using their position or misusing their position to promote this crap was James Hudson. He was the chief of the manuscript division at the Library of Congress. Back in 1998, he had this. It was actually a physical exhibit at the Library of Congress, like Religion and the Founding of the Republic or whatever. And the exhibit is actually still online, the online version, chock full of the same revisionist history that's in Barton's books. Okay, so now, like, Barton, his followers, other revisionists can say, well, it's on the Library of Congress website. This is from the Library of Congress. How can you doubt it? How can you argue it? Well, it's because there was a, revisionist, dominionist guy who misused his position to promote the stuff at the Library of Congress. The lies, they're still the same lies. They can be proven to be lies. But they have that now where they can, say, well, how can you argue with this? It's on the Library of Congress website.
Oh, yeah.
I'm still here. I just got to see what the hell my dog is up to.
Yeah, no worries. So, Morgan, have you come across any of this kind of bullshit in your studies, like blatant, stupid stuff?
I've heard it being argued more by people, not necessarily in my educational setting as far as college and post-college, but I
Right.
have heard people make arguments in, you know, just either students or lay people even. But the fact that students are also seeing this kind of bullshit, like, is fairly disturbing to me, especially law students.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very disturbing, and it's definitely spreading this sort of revisionist history. And it's harming people, and I can definitely see that. But yeah, I run into it. It seems to disseminate, especially amongst people in the South too, because they love revisionist history down here, especially if it has anything to do with the Civil War.
The war
So
between states.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
The war, northern
I
aggression.
I was gonna say the first time, because I used to be married to a Virginian guy, and the first time I went down there and I heard people talking about the wall of northern aggression, I'm like, what the fuck is that? They're like, you know, the Civil War. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and that revisionist history is very much, you know, taught, and it became into this thing that became, you know, eventually the lost cause. So, yeah, revisionist history is definitely nothing new, because, I mean, that's what people use to justify the lost cause, or people are like, oh, it's heritage, not hate kind of thing. And
Oh
yeah, it's
god.
that whole, it's based on revisionist history. And,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's had very disturbing implications, even setting among people of the South here. But yeah, there's people in the South that are going around being like, oh yeah, it was a Christian nation, you know, all the founding fathers were Christian, and you
Oh
know, you
yeah.
hear all this stuff, and I'm just like, you know, Thomas Jefferson had a Bible where he took out all the supernatural shit, right? Like, you don't, I mean, it's yeah, it's just ridiculous, and people just go around, you know, and they perpetuate these lies because they're comforting lies, you know.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Bias
followers,
it's where
the
people
followers
are.
of Barton, they really genuinely want this crap to be true. You know, I mean, it's like they're, and most of them genuinely believe it, and they have
Yeah.
to. Barton has to, and has been successful at getting most people to genuinely believe this, because the main reason he's doing it is to be able to get people to vote against their own best interests. Why the hell would like a shitload of, like, you know, lower middle, you know, class, lower class people, like, making minimum wage, be opposed to vote for candidates who are opposed to the minimum wage, let alone raising the minimum wage? Because Barton is playing on their, you know, religion, and that it's their religious duty. And that's why he needs to come up with these insane things like the parable of the workers in the vineyard, that the real meaning of that was Jesus opposed the minimum wage, because then those people will be like, oh, you know, well, sure, I'd like to make, you know, more than $7 an hour, but, you know, Jesus would have been against it. And they will vote for these candidates who they're voting against their best interest. Capital gains tax.
Mm-hmm.
He uses the parable of the talents, the one where the master gives his servants, like, each some money. The money was called talents, money to hold on to.
Right.
And, you know, one of them buries it in the ground, doesn't do anything with it. One of them invests it somehow or whatever. Whatever, like he turns that somehow into. The moral of the story is that Jesus opposed capital gains taxes.
It's almost
okay.
like
I can't even remember the details because I can't, like, remember how the whole parable.
it reminds me of the Muslims. The Muslims who are like, well, the Quran says I'm not allowed to pay interest. So I had that when I used to work for American Express, and I get people like, I'm a Muslim, I can't pay interest on my credit card. I'm like, I don't care. The law says
I should
you
convert
can't
to
interest.
I should convert to Islam to avoid my student loans.
The Christians too, like the whole thing with the Knights Templar, with them really being like the bankers, You remember like the whole
all the
whatever, but they couldn't quite usury was like that was against like Christian religion, so like they somehow got around to like, you know, I don't know how they got around it with it being fees or whatever. Kind of like I'm in a bit of trouble with the IRS right now. Looking at the thing like the amount of interest, like the amount of money that's added to what I owe. Like if that was called interest, it would be illegal. But they call it penalties, or they call it this, or they call it that. So the Knights Templar basically did the same thing as the freaking IRS. But like, yeah, you know, that's it. Like, because like that's in not just the, you know, Muslim, that's in the Christian religion also. Yep. So, but yeah, I mean, they can twist, and that was the original, like when the term, because I didn't coin the term liars for Jesus. That came about on the old CompuServe message boards, like in the 90s, like when the internet was like brand new. And it first was just used to apply to people who twisted stuff in the Bible to win an argument. But then it took on like the broader meaning of anyone who was, you know,
the blatantly just
about anything, creationism, history, whatever.
I love how, you know, because it's one of the 10 damn commandments, but it's totally okay to break it if you're doing it for Jesus, you know. He's not going to mind, even though, you know, God smites people for stupid shit like looking back, but lying for Jesus, it's okay.
Yeah. But then the Christians will turn around and who's that? Not Brigitte Gabrielle. You know, she is one of she's like Wally Shobat, all the real virulently anti-Muslim crowd, that crowd that they go on that speaking tour, you know, speaking circuit with the real crazy
Oh, I think I've seen her on YouTube. Yes.
Yeah, you probably haven't. I was losing my train of thought is why I brought her up. Oh yeah, because she was speaking at a it was actually the military. Well, she no longer speaks at military colleges or.
That's very good because she's horrible.
Military Religious Freedom Foundation, which I work for, but she was speaking at the Joint Forces Staff College, and actually said that like a Muslim. Their oath can't be trusted because their religion tells them that it's okay to lie to advance religion. I mean, she actually says that it's the same thing. It's the
and that is true. That is absolutely true. It's something called taqiyya, but it's no different than those assholes lying for Jesus. Right? They just
exactly. But they'll be the first to turn around and say, well, you know, the Quran tells Muslims that it's okay to lie to, and as if they don't see that, like they're doing exactly the same thing.
From that point of view, the Muslims are actually being open about it. The Christians pretend they don't do it and do it anyway.
Right. Exactly. That is the difference. Yeah, it is.
Yep.
Good point.
Yeah, I think I did see one of her speeches. I was looking for, because I debate Islam a lot, and I think I was looking for new material, and I had no idea who this woman was, and I start watching, and she's just, you know, at first she's talking about, you know, Muslims, Islam is bad, blah, 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 but then she starts into this, like, oh, they're demons and all this like biblical shit. And I was like, whoa, what the fuck did I just stumble onto? Crazy bitch.
Yeah, that kills me. So she's doing it mostly, I guess, because she doesn't like brown people. Not
Pretty
because
much,
she's interested in debating ideas. Yeah,
no,
that's completely different.
Just very anti-brown people. She just slaps Islam and Muslim on it and is like, oh, well, then I'm good. I can say all this nasty shit about brown people because Islam. And I'm like, no, you say nasty things about Islam because Islam. That's how we do that.
Jeez.
I ran into yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was gonna say I ran into some guy who was doing the same kind of thing on YouTube. Again, I was looking for debate material, and it was like, so and so debunks Islam, blah blah blah. I'm like, okay. And at first he's saying some good stuff, and then he launches into, now if we compare that to Jesus, and I'm like, oh fucking hell.
I bet that happens a lot on YouTube, like, because it's like those seem to be the people that are, that seem to have the speaking tours at least, or the
and this guy, he was on a stage, and he had, now at first you couldn't really see, but he had these backdrops that was all like, faith and I don't know, like other Christian buzzwords on giant banners. And when you first, but the guy doing the camera was zoomed in on Buddy at the beginning, so I was like, okay, whatever, there's words back there, I don't know what they are. And like I said, his opening, like his first like 10 or 15 minutes were really good points about why Islam is awful. And then he starts in with the Jesus shit, and it's just, you don't understand. You're saying that yours is bad too. It's, and it's frustrating.
Yeah, we had a guy.
Go ahead.
At Ole Miss. I'd heard about it, but I didn't go. But it was basically the conservative group we have on campus. I'm not going to name drop anything, but basically it's like more conservative group. And they invited this guy. I cannot remember his name, but my friend came out of that meeting because like they had free Chick-fil-A, because of course they did. And so they did that, and first bisexual ever. I still have, but I'm kind of forced to eat Chick-fil-A, so whatever. But I didn't go to that meeting, but he apparently like was like, if you support Bernie, you're stupid, and if you, what else did he say? He was like, oh, and all Muslims are evil people, and basically if you're brown, you're awful, kind of, but using coded language very much. But he straight up said, if you support Bernie, you're an idiot. And he did say like all Muslims are, and you can't trust them and all this stuff. And I'm like, how is this man invited to speak in an academic setting? Which is what blows my mind about David Barton. I'm like, do not bring his bullshit into any academic settings. Like, stop it. Like the fact that he was like, oh, Second Amendment means you can, basically have a bazooka and a flamethrower and a fighter jet and a tank. And I'm like, what the fuck, you crazy person? Like, what is wrong with you? Just just like the Second Amendment stuff. And then Scalia said something not too far off from that, but I mean, he certainly didn't say you could have fighter jets,
because you want your average citizen to be able to like go out and buy their own bazooka just because
I know, that's insane. Like, why would you,
like, could you imagine like with like say domestic violence, right? Like, it's some assholes like, yeah, bitch, I'm just gonna blow up your whole fucking house because the First Amendment says I can. Or some like stalker woman who is like, blowing up her ex's car or some shit. Like,
you could domestically abuse an entire neighborhood. Like, if you had a fighter jet, you could just like drop a bomb, be like, fuck those guys. Like,
those neighbors are assholes. Their dog shits everywhere. I'm just gonna blow up their house. Like
I like not living in a dystopian country, but I mean, I guess anything that David Barton can do, I guess, to keep his little conservative speech routes and his whole tours and sell books and all that stuff, and try to get, I guess, prestige for himself and his buddy Jesus. It's just it blows my mind, because there are people who think that they're like, oh well, yeah, that's what they meant, because and they may not know necessarily who David Barton is, but those ideas are definitely circulating.
And as we were talking before the show, now that he like, because he puts out that he's got quote degrees, and what kind of Jack boxes are those from, Chris?
I'm sorry, I'm totally lost. I just had to go fill in a foot deep
okay.
hole that the dog dug.
That's okay.
So that's why I was gone so long.
No worries. We were just talking about Barton trying to gain legitimacy by claiming he has degrees that are basically from Cracker Jack boxes.
Yeah. He put up that video that because he had at some time said he didn't have a doctorate, and then he said he did have a doctorate, and I don't know, Glenn Beck said something and whatever. So he puts up this video saying that yes, he does have an earned doctorate. He's got 3 degrees behind him, and he kind of points at one of them, and it was very well known to anyone who's followed him for any length of time that he is an honorary doctorate from Pensacola Christian College, and that's what that degree was. There was some other degree from Life Christian University or something, and the third one from Ecclesia College, which Barton is actually on the board of regents of, so right. I guess he gave that one to himself. And he was, none of them are earned doctorates, okay? Yeah. And I mean, he's just got his BA from Oral Roberts in religious education or something.
Oral Roberts, yeah.
Education. So it's not even, he doesn't have a BA in history.
No, it's not in history. I mean, I don't care if like I don't have a degree in history. I don't care if like somebody has a degree or not, okay? But somebody lying and saying they have a degree, that is, you know, the problem. It's not that he doesn't have a degree. I mean, even if he had a degree, he'd be a liar probably. I mean, it's, you know, like if he happened to go get a degree from somewhere. But it's the lying about having a degree.
Well, and look at somebody like Morgan here, who's busting her butt in law school, you know, working your ass off to get a legitimate degree here. And he just waltzes in and is like, oh, I have a PhD and blah, blah, you know.
And then he gets a dump truck of money, and I'm like...
For a lot of people have called him Dr. David Barton. Like, I've seen many, like, you know, like ads from churches where he's coming to speak and stuff like that have him billed as Dr. David Barton. Yeah. You know, from his, I guess, because of that honorary doctorate from Pensacola Christian College, you know. But that's been going on for years. But he's never, to my knowledge, I guess he doesn't stop people from doing that. But this was different. This was where he actually, like, claimed that he really does have a doctorate. That's like the first time he's done that. And it even contradicted, like, on his own website. There's articles from, like, 2009 where, for some reason, like, he listed, like, in his own bio, on his own website at the bottom of these articles that he had a BA from Oral Roberts and an honorary doctorate from Pensacola Christian College. So there's no master's degree from anywhere, which would kind of come between a BA and a doctorate.
Yeah, that would be
under the academic world way. And
he's got a master's of bullshit is what he's got.
Yeah, right?
He's got a BS for sure. Yeah, he's definitely got the BS degree.
A master's.
But yeah,
in the video, when he's like pointing at the degrees, he's got them like way behind him where like you can hardly read them. And I think like the one, the Life Christian College, whatever it was, the middle one, the way people were able to see where that was from was like there was the reflection of it in the glass on the cabinet that it was sitting on. It was kind of hidden behind one of the other ones. But the one, you didn't even have to see it close up because like everyone knew it was the Pensacola Christian College one because you could make it out good enough to read that's where it was from. And then the other one, and like Right Wing Watch caught it, a couple other bloggers. I mean, I haven't really been writing much, whatever, just posting stuff on Facebook. And the one thing I didn't see anyone catch was the Ecclesia College one, and I knew about them for some reason, something in the past, whatever, and knew he was associated with them. So I went to their website. It's like, yeah, he's on their board of regents. So he apparently awarded that honorary doctorate to himself. So but he had the 3 degrees, and he claimed one of them is an earned degree. But then he did this even trickier thing. He started talking about some real university, like West Virginia University or something, and not directly saying that one of those degrees was from there, but saying, well, West Virginia University's definition of a Doctor of Letters is this, almost giving the impression that one of those degrees that you couldn't quite read behind him was from that university.
Might have come from
it was it was one of those things where none of those degrees were from, so he probably just went online and found some university that had a definition of what a Doctor of Letters means. It means it's an honorary degree, but it found something, and then somebody else went and then looked it up on that university's website, and so he even misquoted that.
Oh shit!
So he couldn't even find the definition that was close enough to making it sound like it was a real degree to quote it. I mean, I don't know. This is just from crap I've read on Facebook and stuff. I mean, it's I don't know if that part of it's true or not. Although, someone saying Barton misquoted something, yeah, I'm probably going to believe that.
What has Go ahead.
I was going to say Christian Life or whatever it is. I saw that they only offer degrees in, basically religious ministry and religious degrees of that nature. They don't even offer humanities courses.
But they don't have history degrees. And then I think they're accredited by, I don't know, is that one, or they're accredited by some diploma mill.
Yeah,
that and then they give their reason for it. And I'm trying to remember because I looked at this shit when that was all over Facebook, and they say that the reason they aren't accredited by a government, recognized accreditation, agency or whatever, is because they do not want the entanglement with the government.
Now they don't want churches.
They're not saying it's because they couldn't get accredited. They're saying, and this is their page for prospective students.
Yeah. So
they come up with this bullshit of, well, we're not accredited by a real accreditation, your agency, whatever.
Because government is icky.
We're taking a stand against the government. Meanwhile, these are the people that are trying to totally mix religion and government.
Good. So government is fine when it serves your purposes, but the minute it makes things difficult fuck the government. No, we don't like those guys.
Right.
Yeah, it's like the people that try to get the vouchers for religious schools, but then they're like, oh, you meant also the Muslim schools? Oh, hell no.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And they're like, we got to get religion out of the state. And I'm like, oh, y'all were singing a different song, last week. But yeah, it's just it's a typical diploma mill. And it just angers me because I know people with PhDs and they're very hard to earn. And just somebody can just parade around and pretend they have one and, be called Dr. David Barton. And it's just, he's a complete fraud.
Someone was trying to start a hashtag that was something like a, show us your dissertation, hashtag.
Oh, that would be
awesome. Or anything, but it's like anyone, doctoral dissertation, and then another part of it was that he was saying that people's education records, just like their business records or whatever, are private, and they don't understand. No, the fact that maybe your transcripts or whatever, or some parts of whether or not you have a degree, how else could it, you walk in looking for a job and say, hey, I got a PhD from
Harvard.
like that. Like nobody's allowed to check that because
Or
it's private information.
Could you imagine? I'm going in for heart surgery, and my doctor's like, "Yeah, I have an MD from Princeton, but I can't show it to you. You're just gonna have to trust me that I can do this."
Or he's got some Pensacola Christian College diploma kind of obscured on the walls. So this is my medical degree.
Yeah. Something.
And what's funny about that too.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
I was gonna say what's funny about that too is usually if you have a PhD, you're like, oh yeah, I want to show this off to everybody. I mean,
Yes.
The fact that he just was like, oh, here's my degree, and then like switched the camera over, like it shows that he's
why couldn't he show
it?
For obvious reasons. I mean, we know why he couldn't just like hold it up in front of the camera close up and say this is my earned PhD, because everyone, even people who didn't already know what like Pensacola Christian College was, or Ecclesia, or that other life, whatever the fuck it is, like Christian whatever, like they would see the words Doctor of Letters, and immediately know that's not an earned PhD.
Now, is this Pensacola joint the same place that Hovind went to and got his quote doctorate?
I have no idea.
Because I have to dig it out because I promised Morgan I'd show it to her. But I have a PDF of Hovind's quote doctoral dissertation. And it starts out with like, my name is Kent Hovind and I do blah, blah, blah. And like, it's like, I wrote better in 7th grade, okay? Like... It's unreal. And that's my pet peeve is the Doctor of Divinity, which a lot of these fuckers run around with and be like, "Oh, I'm Dr. Hovind." No, you're an asshole. You're an idiot who thinks that you don't have to pay taxes.
But like Barton hasn't even like produced his dissertation,
right?
Or even able to say like, what was your dissertation on? What was the topic? Like he went because he didn't write a dissertation because he never got a doctorate.
He went to a website and said, "I'll have one of those."
I'd love to see that hashtag take off. Like, show us your dissertation. I mean, it's like you'd think that would be something he proudly want to show. What brilliant. We should start.
We should start tweeting him. Start tweeting him. Show us your dissertation and see what happens.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I agree. Because I mean, I wrote a thesis when I was just getting my bachelor's degree, and it's like he doesn't even have a master's thesis or anything. And it's like I guarantee you, we didn't have to write one for that bachelor's from Oral Roberts. Which
hell no.
I say it, but
you're in order to get that quote degree, he probably just had to pray real hard.
Pray real hard and we'll send a degree in the mail.
Yeah. Sit here on your knees for a couple hours, say a lot of prayers, and hopefully, if you're a really good boy, you'll get one in the mail.
Send us $1. We'll send you a vial of holy water and a doctor.
Yes, and some crackers. Oh shit! But yeah, a Doctor of Divinity. So it sounds like
your divinity is a legit degree for a legitimate.
It is, but
person. I mean that's not like a bogus degree. If it's really earned.
It is a degree and they do have to do stuff for it, but it's not very, I think anybody who could graduate high school could probably get a Doctor of Divinity.
I think I wouldn't go that far. I would think like legit theological seminaries like Princeton or Yale or whatever. I would say that the academics, the what they have to do to get a Doctor of Divinity.
It's a pet peeve to me because I've seen people with these Doctor of Divinities trotting them out what's his face? Not Sai 10, the other idiot. William Lane Craig. He drives me crazy, and he's like, ooh, Doctor of Divinity, blah blah blah. He's a moron. Like his apologetics are ridiculous. You know, he can't debate himself out of a paper bag, but he's flouncing around, ooh, Doctor of Divinity, and so that's the kind of people that make me question how.
Well, yeah. But I mean, same as like people getting a degree in any other subject from a diploma mill, like a MBA or any other kind of degree. I think it depends on the school and whether it's a legit school and has some sort of stamp.
I don't know where William Lane Craig got his.
The subject.
Yeah, but a Doctor of Letters is that's just nothing.
That's which is was it an earned or is it an honorary doctorate? Not
right.
In.
Yeah. Because it's basically, here's a cap and gown, enjoy, we like you.
Enjoy. I was trying to look up William Lane Craig.
The dollar you get the vial of holy water and the doctorate. $2 you get the cap and gown.
There you go. What were you saying, Morgan?
I was gonna look up where he got his degrees.
Okay.
What?
I don't know.
The Talbot School of Theology. That's where you work.
Who's that? William Lane Craig?
Hovind?
I think she's looking at William Lane Craig.
Yeah, I am. I'm trying to see where exactly he got his degrees. Like, be interested to know, because I do think a Doctor of Divinity might be legitimate, but it depends on the school, I think, because if it's like a degree from like Oral Roberts University, I'm gonna be like, okay, but if it's like from Harvard or Yale, I'm like, okay, well, you know something about something.
Well, I think there's probably, I have quite a few friends actually who are Christian ministers, believe it or not, and they have degrees from legitimate seminaries and had to do the work and really know like the he's trying to push my iPad over again.
Dougie wants on the show.
So I don't I wouldn't bash everyone who's got a Doctor of Divinity degree because they're just like I said, it's the same as like there's the bills for degrees in just about any.
Yeah, it looks like he got his at University of Munich. He got a postdoc degree at University of Munich, and he got his PhD at University of Birmingham in England.
In Munich.
But he started out at Wheaton. He got his BA, then he got his master's at Trinity Evangelical, and then went on to University of Birmingham for a PhD and got his postdoc at University of Munich.
Okay. So, he's probably, I don't know. Whoever tried to teach him to debate, they suck. That's all I know.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. They he's not a very good debater, but he might be intelligent in other aspects. Perhaps he's like one of those idiot savants, they talk about. But like my example of that is Dr. Ben Carson, because brilliant surgeon but has no clue how the world works. It's like, how do you tie your shoes? It's like,
it boggles my mind that the guy is like this. What is he, a brain surgeon?
He's a neurosurgeon, and he has like separated
brain surgeon,
and, all this other brilliant shit.
And he can't stay awake for a debate,
or he thinks the pyramids were used to store grain. Again, revisionist history. Revisionist history comes full circle.
Yeah, that was probably one of the best jokes.
That's pretty creative.
And I think part of the problem with this revisionist history is now people are just saying, I think it lends credence to people who say, oh, well, I feel this is true.
Yeah.
And I think that's lending credence. Like, oh, well, I feel in my heart that this is a Christian nation, so I'm going to believe, this bullshit.
Yeah. And here's this guy who has a bunch of letters behind his name that is telling me exactly what I want to hear.
Yeah, exactly. But he won't let you look at his degrees too closely. Like that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like at least William Craig has legitimate looking degrees, but like
Yes.
his intelligence could be up for debate. But then it's like this guy is just like completely making it up, and he's just getting like all this these conservative groups, and the fact that he's even allowed to have an institution that writes amicus briefs, like it's
Yeah.
blows my freaking mind. Like you should be nowhere near one of those. Like at least be because I don't know if it's him himself writing an amicus brief. Like I can't imagine he would have the iota of intelligence it takes to even follow the freaking outline. To write one, but and write in the correct freaking format. Probably can't figure out the font, but like at least the attorneys who I imagine are drafting that, I'm like, I just don't see how they are, not all disbarred. It
Yeah.
blows my mind
Chris,
because it's fraud.
Do you know, Chris, does Barton use lawyers to write his amicus briefs, or does he actually try and do that shit on his own? Did you hear me?
Good question. I don't know.
Not sure. Not sure.
I mean, like he's got his staff. He probably has help. I don't know. I don't think he has like any like lawyers on his staff.
Right.
Wall builders.
Interesting.
But he's got, he's in that crowd where a whole bunch of them are, lawyers from the Liberty Institute and those other, ACLJ and this and that. So I don't know if he gets help with it. I mean, judging by his writing level, skill level, if you read his book like Original Intent and stuff like that, I mean, the guy is no writer. I mean, he's, I mean, I'm guessing he gets help.
Yeah.
Well, that's like Morgan was kind of speculating that he probably doesn't have the wherewithal to manage that kind of stuff on his own.
Yeah, because I couldn't imagine just a layperson just writing amicus brief to the Supreme Court and then being taken seriously enough to, kind of like write those, to have it being quoted and, even a dissenting opinion. Because like I said earlier, dissents are still often, you can use a dissent and an argument to back up why the law should be changed. It's still very persuasive in an argument. And often dissents do become law. So that's what scares me so badly, that it's even quoted in a dissent, this complete false bullshit he's making up. Because, it may come along in the future and then be like, oh, we like this rule. And, oh, what's this bit? It was David Barton guy. And again, it becomes perpetuated and it seems to come down from higher and higher authority. Well, and I guess that's part of their plan.
And I remember, like, when I first started debating religious nutters online was about 10 years ago. And because I had not done that, like, I'd been an atheist for 17 years at that point, but I'd never done it. Like, around here, it's not a big deal. No one gives a shit. But I got it, I was annoyed and I wanted to go yell at some Christians. So I found a group, whatever. And so they were, oh, she doesn't know anything. Like, they thought I was great because I didn't know what intelligent design was and all that shit. So they're like, ooh, we got a live one. And they started throwing this Barton shit out at me. And I'm like, okay, I'm a history nerd, but I'd never really studied a lot of American history.
You're into that older, from what I recall, the older English.
Yeah, the Tudor period.
Tudors and all of that. I remember that from last time we were.
Yeah, but even then, I'm reading this stuff and I'm like, this just doesn't seem right. And even 10 years ago, I could find stuff that was like, no, this is bullshit. And I remember distinctly that there were a bunch of quotes, and I think Barton was using some of them on his website that were supposed to be from the founding fathers, and they were,
the unconfirmed quotes list.
Yes, and he was.
There's a whole chapter about the whole history of the unconfirmed quotes list in.
Let's talk a little bit about that.
Second volume of Jesus, of how that came about, and also the way Barton like kept changing it over the years, so that now he's it disappeared and came back, and now several of the quotes that were unconfirmed are just like missing off the list. Like the version he's got up now makes it appear that he was able to confirm more than half of the, or almost all of the quotes that were on the original list, when that is absolutely not true. And I go through in the chapter in Liars for Jesus, Volume 2, that traces the history of the unconfirmed quotes list and the how Barton did this, like, you know, making it appear that he was able to confirm them.
Yes.
Even though he didn't. And then there's a chapter on the quote that started it all, which was the infamous James Madison Ten Commandments quote, which I finally, after, and I go through this in my book, what I had to do to the years it took me to figure out exactly where that quote really came from, and once and for all put it to rest. It came from, it was Clarence Mannion, the conservative, you know, politician doing a speaking tour in the 1950s. Okay.
Yeah.
What happened was he was talking about James Madison and paraphrased something that James Madison said.
Right.
But then Clarence Mannion's words that he added to it were the stuff about the Ten Commandments.
Right.
At some point, because Mannion's speech was being like reprinted in newspapers and this and that, at some point, somebody had to have put the quotation marks in the wrong places.
Right.
To make it look like, and it was probably more than likely unintentional. It was somebody who was sitting there writing down what Clarence Mannion was saying or whatever, because in an actual printed copy of the speech supplied by Clarence Mannion to a newspaper, the quotation marks are not around the 10. So it wasn't Clarence Mannion who was saying that James Madison said this. It was somebody else somewhere who did this. So once and for all, we know where the James Madison quote came from. But the really crazy part of the story is the footnote for it has always been this book by this mysterious Harold K. Lane called Liberty, Cry Liberty, that was supposedly published in 1939. This is where this quote came from. I went through, it took me several years because I waited for the 1940 census to be released to make sure there's nobody in this country named Harold K. freaking Lane who could possibly have been the author of a book in 1939 that the whole source was fabricated.
Wow.
Okay. I contacted Library of Congress, New York Public Library, Boston Public Library Rare Books Division, because this book was supposedly published in Boston. Nobody, Library of Congress, anybody has any record of not just that book, but the publisher of that book. There is no record of with the Library of Congress. They are in no Boston directory from those years. And the fact, so basically I have proven that that source
he just
made up.
Slaps a footnote on something. Wow.
Yeah, so that, and it wasn't Barton who made that up, by the way. It was what's his face, one of the others. I want to say George Grant in one of his books.
Gotcha.
I'm pretty sure that made that quote and that source.
Right.
Or revived it from. It actually had ended up on a calendar in 1958. Misquoted one. That was the first cloning of it. And, so yeah, that quote is no longer claimed. Well, it might turn up.
Good.
Well, because it can't know what the source is now.
Well, we finally got Beth back. Hey, Beth.
Hello.
She fell asleep, but it's okay. I was a little worried, but she's here. She's good. And look what who showed up to say hello, Mr. Foda.
Hello.
Hey, Dave.
How are you guys doing?
Yeah, we are good. Yeah, Chris Foda heard you were coming on, and he wanted to come and say hello for a bit, so he's popping in to join us.
Just briefly, this is still Chris's show.
Up down there.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry, it's definitely Chris's show. So that's that bullshit with the quotes. And like I said, those idiots thought they could totally, oh, look, this one doesn't know anything. Let's throw the founding fathers quotes at her. And yeah, even 10 years ago, it took me maybe half an hour to debunk that shit. And I'm like, you idiots, I'm not even into American history, and I can figure this out in like half an hour. What the fuck is wrong with you? But people
the internet's great.
The internet is great, but people don't do that. They're lazy fuckers, and they're like, oh, he has footnotes, it must be true,
And he has a fake PhD.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's when he wasn't claiming yet that he had a real PhD. That's when he was still claiming he only had an honorary one.
Yeah. Which magically turned into a real one at some point. Oh,
yeah, Jesus did it.
Yeah.
Well,
you change water
according
into
to
wine,
an
why not an
article
honorary degree into an earned degree?
It's still fake.
Oh, it is definitely still fake. Yeah. There was an article that came out today that this like diploma mill was like, oh, he earned it. We're like, yeah, no.
Of course they said that.
I know. You earned it with a few clicks and some money,
Yeah.
I'm thinking. Yeah. I'm like, I want a fucking PhD. What should I get one in?
You can have any PhD in anything you want, apparently, from some of these people.
So
even if they don't have the
I
power to do so.
Maybe if I get
Even if they don't even have that coursework.
Yes.
No. Oh,
Well, you could go.
Beth,
You could go to this. You could go to the same diploma mill that. Shit. What's his name?
Oh, Hovind.
Yes, Kent Hovind went to.
Oh, we've been talking about him too. We have a copy of Hovind's quote doctoral thesis, though.
What color crayon is it written in?
Well, it's a PDF, so right now it's black and white. Oh, and Beth lost contact again. She'll be back. She'll be back. Oh, what do we got, Chris?
There we go.
Awesome. Wait a minute. Wait. Hang on. I can't see that. What does it say?
Chris's
says
PhD.
Chris's PhD.
Amazing. That is amazing.
Awesome sauce.
But the dog's gonna eat it.
Oh yeah, the dog ate my PhD.
The dog's gonna eat my
Oh my God.
Shit. Hey Dave, you could get a PhD in assholery.
I don't need a PhD. I teach the course.
Well, okay. But you could get a nice one to hang on your wall.
Mm-hmm.
Will you be an honorary asshole, or will you have earned it?
I will have earned it.
Oh, shit.
An honorary asshole.
Come on, Morgan. Well, we know maybe someday you'd like a law-related PhD, but what would you like out of the Cracker Jack box?
Oh yeah, I know. I don't know. I guess I could get a Cracker Jack LLM. That'd be nice.
There you go.
It's like a PhD equivalent in law.
I thought that was simply a JD.
No, JD.
Isn't that what Michelle Bachmann has?
An LLM?
Is that what? What was the degree she got from William and Mary?
I thought she.
Or-
No, she's been Googling. I can see I see the glow on her glasses. She's Googling.
Wait,
She's gonna fact check.
wait. I thought
Yes.
that I thought she went to Oral Roberts University.
Well, that's what
It would not
Barton
surprise me.
went.
She's
No,
crazy.
She did go to Oral Roberts University. I didn't realize that she had gone to William and Mary though.
Yeah, well, when she was at Oral Roberts, she was John Eichmo's research assistant on his book Christianity and the Constitution, which is another book that came out in 1982 that like Barton got a lot of his lies from and embellished them. And Michelle Bachman was actually his research assistant on that book. When she was at Oral Roberts, he was her professor, I guess. Wait, the dog's turning my iPad again.
That's okay. Well, actually,
Wait, oh, I found it. Yeah, she went to, let's see. She spent a summer apparently in high school working in Israel. But in 1978, it says she graduated from Winona State University, the BA. And then she was a member of the first class of the O.W. Coburn School of Law, then a part of Oral Roberts
Did you say
University.
Covert School of Law?
No, Coburn. Coburn School of Law. Then
Covert School of Law. I thought that's what you said.
No, but
But it
Oral
was-
Roberts had a law school. I had no
Well,
idea.
no, and then it turned out they moved to Regent. Didn't it move to Regent because they lost its accreditation at Oral Roberts?
Oh.
Isn't that how Regent Law School got started?
that sounds familiar.
Yeah, she received a JD degree, which is what I'm working on, from Oral Roberts University.
Oh, she
And
did. I thought for some reason she got some degree from William and Mary.
Oh, she did. She got an LLM in tax law.
That's when you said LLM. I was thinking that's what she had from William and Mary. Yeah.
Yeah, and then she started working for the IRS. Yeah.
So where did she get her degree in batshit crazy?
Oral Roberts, her JD.
No.
Yeah.
No. She got that straight from her church. It's a Missouri Synod Lutheran Church.
Ooh. Okay.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll do it.
Missouri Synod. Yeah.
By the way, Chris, one of my friends from Toronto is watching, and he says, "quote That subwoofer is really strong."
Wait, I didn't hear that because the dog was barking. What did you say?
That's exactly what he meant. He said the subwoofer is really strong.
Oh, the subwoofer. Okay,
Yeah.
Herc, your new nickname is Subwoofer.
Thank you, Jamie.
Here, Subwoofer. Here, Subwoofer. Come here. I'm trying to get him to come. Like, he wants to sit on my lap, and he'll be quiet if he gets on my lap. This is like the one time he will not get on my lap because I want him to.
Of course, it's the Murphy factor, because Beth is now up, but she can't seem to get a connection.
Oh yeah, it also says Bachman has pointed to the influence of Christian Reconstructionists Herb Titus and R.J. Rushdoony.
Oh, Rushdoony.
Yes, via the
yeah, of course. That is
the
but I mean, Barton's a Reconstructionist also.
Yeah,
Yes.
they apparently were very influential in that law school Oral Roberts had.
Right.
Lovely.
Yeah, so oh my God, that is horrifying that there are people with JDs running around from Oral Roberts University. Oh my gosh, that is scary. I think that's the scariest thing I've learned today.
You're good now. Every time she meets somebody that has a JD, she'd be like,
Like,
"What
where's it
school is that
from?" Yeah, no, people are gonna think I'm a pretentious asshole and gonna say, "Oh, I got my JD from Harvard when mine's the University of Mississippi." But it's like, at least that's
You're
a
like,
real
no,
college.
no, I'm checking for religious nutters. Just humor me.
Yeah, seriously.
Well,
I'm not
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you get the degree from. It matters which state you pass the bar in.
True.
That is true.
Yeah.
It's only as useful as that. But yeah, that's oh my gosh, that's craziness. I was wondering where all those nutters that came from, I guess from a Liberty Council. I was like, where the hell they go to law school? And I guess now I know.
Somewhere in Kentucky.
I don't know. It's not from the University of Mississippi, which is surprising.
Glenn Beck University.
Oh my
Glenn-
God.
Get Glenn Beck University.
You get a
Not one
BS
or
in
two.
conspiracy theory.
Well,
Uh,
interesting you mentioned that because you could have gotten a BS in economics at Trump University.
Oh gosh,
yes, you could.
you could, yeah.
Or
Oh goodness.
BS and a lot of things, I think. Beth, are you gonna make it? Can she hear us?
She's in cryostasis.
Yep, because when I clicked on her, it went black. She's gonna be very frustrated. Oh, it's one of those deals where her ISPs go funky on her, but no, she's
Yeah.
not.
Oh, another crazy
So-
thing about Bachman. I'm still reading this article. I'm just fascinated right now. But she grew up apparently in a Democratic family, and she says she became a Republican during her senior year at Winona State.
What's what? Winona State? Do they
Winona State, like Winona Judd? What?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, that's what
I was-
I have no idea where that's at, and I'm sure I'm gonna get
Yeah.
like an angry email somehow. They're just gonna email me and be like, "Winona State is a fine institution. Thank you." I'm gonna get like the one Winona State listener.
She
that's
was
gonna
like,
find
what was
me.
the other one that went to like so many colleges? Sarah Palin, right? Like went to like
Yeah.
like one
No, yeah,
college.
but she didn't attend. She was just up in frat houses sucking dick.
Winona State's
Well-
in Minnesota.
Okay.
Yeah, and apparently it's a real place. It's a real thing, I
Okay.
guess.
It's
Dude,
like,
I was
You know what?
thinking.
but-
You know, wait.
but
You know
think
what their
about it though.
mascot is, right?
Like all these people who went to these legit universities, like they didn't finish. Like they went there for like. Did she actually graduate from there?
Yeah, because I mean, you have to have a BA or you have to have a bachelor's of some
That's what
kind to
she got
even
her
go
BA.
to law school.
Oh, because you
but-
said it was in her senior year. She. That
Yeah,
was when
yeah.
She became
Yeah.
Republican.
Yeah,
So-
but yeah, it seems to be a legitimate one. But except for the Oral Roberts, JD, that seems to be where she kind of like, I guess she turned a senior in college and then decided she was going to go batshit nuttery religious, you know, along with that, and was like, I'm going to go to Oral Roberts. I don't understand that. Like, you know, none of these people decide they're going to go to Harvard. It's going to be like Oral Roberts or Florida Pentecostal or whatever the
Right.
fuck.
Where'd she meet Marcus? You seem to know a lot about her, or you're Googling very quickly.
Yeah, apparently, I think in some school, I don't know, I think maybe college or high school or something, but she said that they became inspired to join the pro-life movement when they saw, I think, what was the documentary that was
It was probably the anti-abortion crowd's equivalent of Wheels of Terror.
yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Oh, how should we then live? The film series.
Well, you know what Winona State's mascot is, right?
What's that?
No, what is it?
It's a big brown beaver.
No, that's Canada's mascot.
No, oh shit! None of you got that reference. Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a song. It came out in like the mid to late '80s. It was a kind of a punk heavy metal song called "Winona's Got a Big Brown Beaver."
Oh.
We were the day of the drag show into the gutter, you know? Seriously.
And And Winona Ryder got really pissed off when that song came out too.
Oh, really?
When she was talking about Winona University, I was thinking about Winona Ryder. I'm like, well, do they teach shoplifting or what? Like,
Oh my gosh. There's so many angry emails. But
hey, I'm Canadian. I don't know shit about your universities. Okay, just disclaimer.
No. If Michelle Bachman went there, you know everything you need to know.
Is okay.
I'm gonna get an email, man. Like, you dumb hick. Like, you live in Mississippi. How dare you? Talking shit about Minnesota. Whatever. I don't get to make fun of much.
Bachman also made up like a whole fake family history of how her family came to this country, and
Oh, no way.
Oh, that's crazy.
debunking her whole story of her pioneer ancestors and how they got here and what they went through and all of this. It was like she even lied about her own family history of how to make them sound more, Little House on the Prairie-ish or whatever.
So this revisionist history doesn't just apply to broad history; it applies to personal histories now.
Yes. Hey, just a point of clarification, and thank you, Beth, for putting this in there. I had said something about Michelle Bachmann being Missouri-Synod before. That is incorrect. She is Wisconsin-Synod. However, Wisconsin-Synod, Missouri-Synod, when you get right down to the doctrine and theology and the level of evangelicalism, it's 6 of one, a half dozen of the other.
Right.
But yes, Michelle Bachmann is Wisconsin-Synod, not Missouri-Synod.
So Beth can hear us. She's just not got enough bandwidth to carry through. So
oh no.
yeah, she's contributing in our little private chat here where she can. So I know it sucks. It's like Murphy's really fucking with us today. You would have loved it, Dave. I couldn't get my camera to work at the beginning. I was like frozen in all these weird positions, and then I turned into a green screen. It was way fun.
Flash dance.
Yeah.
No. Jay Giles band's Freeze Frame.
Yeah, there we go.
Freeze
There we
frame.
go. Freeze frame. Beth.
And we're all going to have that song stuck in our heads.
I know.
Yeah,
Not me. I've got one of my YouTube playlists going. I'm never gonna. That song's never gonna in my head.
Is Winona's Big Brown Beaver on it?
Nope.
You're gonna have to find that for us now, because we're gonna want to hear it again after.
Well, I'm not gonna look for it right now because I've got good music going on right now.
Okay, fine.
I've got a subwoofer.
Yeah, the subwoofer finally decided to sit down.
Here's the subwoofer.
He's cute.
He's not barking.
I gotta tell you right now, I do not envy any of you who have pets.
Yeah, I hear ya.
I'm finally finished with pets.
Yeah, Bob figured out how to break out of his room that he gets fed in last night, so that's fun.
So, Chris, you and I have not talked in quite some time, and this may have been covered earlier in the show, but I was curious as to what you've got working right now.
What I'm working right now?
Yeah.
Not much. I got a few things that I'm hoping to start to be able to work on, but then there goes the subwoofer again. I'm really kind of stuck somewhere where I can't do a lot right now, but hopefully won't be for that long. But the next project, which I had started on, a good video series version of Liars for Jesus.
Oh, excellent, excellent.
One episode per chapter. Not like my crappy YouTube videos, like really, more professional quality videos.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's hopefully my next.
Good deal. I look forward to that.
Put on hold temporarily.
Well, Mark is very excited about it. He's been very enthusiastic about lots of the evening. My friend Jamie says your dog's cute, by the way.
He'd be a lot cuter if he'd shut the hell up.
Yeah, you can give a cat a thing of catnip and they'll shut the hell up for hours. Dogs aren't quite that easy.
Yeah, they need to come up with something like that for dogs. That just
because catnip is like weed
stoned.
for cats. It just makes them really stoned and then they pass out and go to sleep.
Yeah, someone should come up with something to like get dogs wasted. So
Dogs will drink beer.
I'm not gonna give my dog alcohol. That's not gonna happen.
I'm just saying, dogs will drink beer. They like it.
Yeah,
Dogs will drink a lot of shit they're not supposed to drink, though.
Well, that's true, because a cat's litter box is a candy store to a dog.
Yes, that's one reason why I'm glad I don't have a dog.
He actually, just, like, whenever I'm, like, he'll be quiet until I'm either on the phone or on a video chat or whatever, and I think it's because, like, he hears the other voices and, like, he's, I'm not paying attention to him. I'm talking to
who the hell are those people, and why are you not petting me now?
And why are they stuck in that little box?
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Help me, I'm trapped.
Help me, help me. Oh, shouldn't have done that. So Chris, what is Barton up to lately? Because like he's always got his fingers in some kind of bullshit.
I would imagine he's very involved with the national the last presidential election. He wrote a good part of the Republican platform. I mean, he's always telling it for Texas for the presidential election,
right?
And he's I'm sure he's involved in some way, somehow with, even though he was like totally trashing Trump, because he was a Cruz supporter, but now he's come out with like it's your biblical duty to vote for Trump.
Yeah, I heard that.
Trump basher was like on his Facebook page and stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know what he's doing now, like other than assuming it's something. Well, also he's really into like the I'm sorry, Herc stuff.
That's okay.
He's real into the not just focusing on the presidential election, but a lot of like the lower level races and stuff like that. So I'm sure it's up to no good with something to do with the election right now, would be my guess.
Most likely, yes.
Yeah.
Is your biblical duty to vote for Trump?
Yeah, because he said God blesses a nation based on the policies.
Your biblical duty to vote for Trump.
Yeah, because he said even though Trump's not a Christian necessarily, he's going to enforce biblical policies, and he says that's what God's going to judge us by, not Trump's personal life as a president.
Getting Mike Pence as running mate for Pence as a one of the Congressional Air Caucus people, and Barton around the Congressional Air Caucus, and it's like the only way to make Trump at all palatable for a lot of the evangelicals.
Yeah, because I mean, Pence is the asshole that decided that embryos need funerals.
Yeah, didn't he also say
that?
Yes, he did. And he's the governor of Indiana.
But it got struck down, didn't it?
Oh, did it? I don't know.
There's no way that's the law in Indiana right now, or at least it ain't being enforced.
It was passed. It was absolutely passed.
You're fucking with me.
No, because our friend on Holy Crap, Bridget, she lives in Indiana and she is very upset about the whole thing. But last I heard, like, it had absolutely passed. Now, whether it had been, struck down or challenged or anything, but it was law, like in the spring for sure. It got passed, and yeah. So an embryo, and they made it even so that if it was by like miscarriage or abortion or whatever, that there had to be a funeral.
I just Snopes it. It said it's mostly false according to Snopes.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. I'm not sure.
Morgan's fast on the Google draw there.
Yeah. No, the law Pence backed would have required all fetal tissue to be cremated or buried, which was an unprecedented
Right.
measure in state law. The law also banned. Let's see. Let's see. What is it? It does require, the law actually does require that aborted or miscarried fetuses be buried or cremated. It also requires that women involved in these cases be given the chance to decide how this is carried out. But it did not
Right.
require women involved to be present during or to pay for the disposal of the material.
Oh,
But
okay.
it
So I
still
was
did
under
that. But they still did that, which is
Yeah.
fucking awful.
Because
and
I was
crazy.
under the impression that the woman had to pay for it too. So
Yeah,
at least
I
that's-
knew that there was something weird about that meme that's been going around, but I couldn't remember what it was. But yeah, it doesn't force you to pay for it, but it still requires that aborted or miscarried fetuses be buried or cremated, essentially giving them sort of this whole false perception of personhood. And again, it's that it's revising that narrative.
Well, and it was to add an additional burden on the woman to discourage her from trying to abort anything.
Yeah. Oh, also, David Barton's not a fan of me because he says that my generation is the entitled generation. And then he says one of it is that we have a right to vote. And then he says you don't have a right, you have a responsibility, because he says that there's no words in the Hebrew language for coincidence, retirement, or fair. So God couldn't have been that. Yeah.
What the fuck does that even mean?
Yeah, I don't have.
What the fuck does that even mean?
I don't have the right. I don't have rights, but it's somehow my responsibility. But I don't have the right, and that includes the right to vote. Yet it is my responsibility to vote for Trump.
Well, according to the Constitution, in the amendments, you have the right to vote.
And I have multiple rights in the Constitution, despite what freaking David Barton thinks of the Hebrew fucking language, because guess what? The Constitution wasn't written in fucking Hebrew.
Yeah. Oh, so, Beth says...
Wait. How do you know? Were you there?
Do you have original documents that you can footnote?
Oh my gosh. I'm sure he doesn't.
Barton is against voting or women voting or rights for women, period.
Oh, so I shouldn't be voting anyway.
Oh yeah, I knew he was against.
And he believes the Constitution is based on the Bible, supposedly. How the fuck that works? Because nobody anywhere has any rights in the Bible unless it's, you know, the asshole who's killing everyone.
Yeah, the First Amendment kind of disproves that. The fact that there is a First Amendment, like, it's not based on biblical principles. What? Yeah, I thought about that once I said it. I was like, it's my responsibility to vote for Trump, and I'm just like, oh well, if David Barton says that women shouldn't, you know, vote for Trump, then his words, not mine.
You know what? Speaking of that, why are any of the three of you talking at all?
Because I'm in fucking Canada and I don't like Paul either. That fucker can just, you know.
Yeah, I don't care what David Barton says.
Paul can go fall off his ass again, for all I care.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You got like four rather loudmouth chicks here. Like, that's gonna fly.
Well, I'm going to hell.
Yeah, well, that's where the cool people are.
Seriously, I would rather do that than to go hang out with freaking David Barton and friends.
Oh,
no, he's going to hell too. He's going to hell too.
Yeah, but I was going to say, Barton's going to hell if
yes, but
violating that no lying commandment.
Yeah, but it didn't. Thou shalt not bear false witness.
Yeah.
He's going to hell
But
too.
but doesn't it make it okay if you're lying for Jesus? At least that's what all these fuckers do.
No, it does not. Jesus said, "Not one jot or tittle shall pass from the law."
Very true. Well, these guys have fucked up then because they all think lying for Jesus is perfectly okay. Oh,
By the way, it's
lovely.
pineapple juice.
Pineapple juice.
Yes.
Yummy.
I hate pineapples, but yeah.
So, like, with David Barton's revisionist history, does he also have an influence on these, like, I guess these conspiracy nutters, like Alex Jones?
Oh, good point. I never thought of that.
Kind of type people that are just like, oh yeah, we see from history, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Like
I never
ancient
know what the
aliens.
hell. Yeah, I never know what the hell Alex Jones is even saying because he's just like spouting nonsense at all times. But yeah,
Beth says that Glenn Beck buys into it, but she's not sure about Alex Jones.
Okay.
Glenn Beck is just like off the rocker, isn't he?
His whole Blaze website, Empire, whatever it is kind of collapsing. Have you read that?
Yes, it is, but
like, you know.
Look at that. Tell us how you really feel, Dave.
Yeah, I don't have to see that fucking
doing
Tommy
the happy
Lauren
dance
anymore or
over there.
whatever.
And I don't know whatever happened to Beck University. I was attending every one of David Barton's history classes. That was Professor David Barton. Can't remember if they called him doctor.
It's amazing.
But he was Professor David Barton at Beck University.
He was teaching history online. This idiot.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was Beck University. This is back around, I don't know, 2010, 2011, somewhere around there. That it was this, you know, it was Beck University, and Barton was the history professor, and like people were taking this seriously.
Wow.
That makes me irrationally angry.
I didn't even teach or anything as far as like, no, not even honorary degrees.
This isn't even Cracker Jack box shit.
No,
what
the
did she
scary
say?
thing is that the people that were actually seriously doing this, thinking they were getting a real education, because Beck and Barton had them so convinced from all those Founders Friday shows when Beck was still on Fox that that they had been taught history wrong and to learn real history. So all these, like, you know, I don't know how many people, countless people that really believed that thought that, and still think from like Barton's books, this is the real history. I'm getting a real education, and they genuinely believe that. And
that's scary.
You know, that's what's scary about it.
Well, it's the same kind of issue where, you know, you have somebody who says, like Lee Strobel, who says, well, I was an atheist and I went looking for God and I found him. Well, of course you found him. That's what you were planning on doing, asshole.
Exactly. So those shitheads are, oh, I was an atheist, blah, blah, blah. No, you were planning your revelation the whole fucking time, and you're just shitting out your mouth, basically.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, did you really not believe in God before? Like, maybe you weren't necessarily living what you consider now a Christian lifestyle, but I always ask them, I'm like, oh, so you never believed in God before? And they all look like, oh my God, nobody's asked me that. Like, what do I say now? Like, yeah, I totally didn't believe in God. I was like, at all? Like, you didn't believe in some greater force at all that could have influenced you to go one way or another?
Beth just put up that Kirk Cameron was spouting that crap too, and it's interesting that she brings Kirk Cameron up because Kirk Cameron, in one of the specials that he had that Yes, I did actually watch it.
Yeah, the movie Cognitive Dissonance, I think, did a review of it. I listened to it actually not long ago.
But this was not a movie. This was more done in more documentary style. But he had
Okay.
David Barton as one of his guests.
Yeah, that. I wish I could.
Oh, that
remember
was
the name
that
of
thing
it.
that was in theaters, like a whole bunch of theaters at the same time. Is that what you're talking about?
It likely could have been. I watched it on Netflix. I'm not gonna spend more than my Netflix subscription to go see that. But
You'll have to tell me what it is later. I'll go look.
It was some like one night event, big event thing that there was all this hype about that was going to be in like different churches and theaters and whatever all
Sounds like
simultaneously.
Monumental.
yes, that's it. That's
Monumental. That's it.
Monumental.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, and then
Yeah, they
then-
signed it to this
then
monument.
Cameron goes to Barton's Wall Builders
Yes,
Museum.
that was it.
And
Yep.
all of that. Right. Oh yeah.
And then they
yeah.
And they
Wow.
spent forever talking about this damn monument, being like, see, the woman is teaching her children, and I'm like, oh, it's a fucking statue. Like, calm down. Statues have
Wait,
symbolism, but how are
Wait a
you
minute.
kidding
What the
me?
fuck is a woman doing teaching anything with these people?
A woman's
That,
place
that,
for children to be a citizen, a proper citizen, and all that stuff, and all that stuff, which to an extent was like true, but they started like doing all this like revisionism and just like saying, oh yeah, that's as you can see from this statue, and like that's basically the only thing they talked about was this fucking statue. Maybe that's why they called it monumental, but it was ridiculous. Like I was just like, what the fuck is he talking about? And
well, they had to shorten the title of that documentary to make it more palatable for Christians. Originally, it was called Monumental Bullshit.
yeah. Oh, I thought it
Yeah,
was going to
that's
be
what it was.
monumental fuck up.
But then Kirk Cameron goes to England for like 5 minutes, and it's just like talks.
Oh, he went to like
like
Harvard, and just because like the motto of Harvard was something religious, and of course it was originally founded as a theological seminary, but
Yep.
that's proof that American education was supposed to be based on the Bible. Like he did all that traveling. Because the only part I really remember, I guess, because like I paid attention to it because it had to do with there was the part with Barton when he goes to Alito, Texas to visit Barton's museum, and Barton's showing him the Bibles, and Cameron, being an actor, of course, can get that real genuine look of surprise. Oh my God, I never knew that on his face, and all he needed was he should have had that. It was the other kid in that series. It was the kid Boner. Remember that? It was the show he was on when he was a kid.
Yeah, Growing Pains.
Growing
Growing pains.
Right. And he had that friend Boner, and then like he should have had him along for the ride with him, like to just have that dumb look, like. Whoa.
Especially when he goes to visit Ray Comfort and his banana.
Oh God, yeah, and there was just like, it was so ridiculous because it was like, who believes Kirk Cameron was genuinely like, I don't know what to believe, and I'm gonna go on this objective journey.
That's
Those like reality shows where it's supposed to look like all like non-rehearsed and shit, and it's like
And he's like, who knew he'd find Jesus?
Well, see, the thing is, even when he was on the set of Growing Pains, the other cast members used to bitch and complain about him because he was always evangelizing to the cast.
Exactly. Like
I was like that kid from 2.5 Men. That kid went crazy for a minute. It was like, and told everybody like not to watch the show because it was demonic.
Oh,
and then he was like,
somebody or other.
Yeah, Angus T. Jones. Or I don't even fucking know his name. I just made that up, but. But yeah, like I don't understand. And then they go around and evangelize and like tell people not to watch the show, and the producers are like, "Can you fucking not? Like, what's wrong with you? Stop it!" Like you get paid $1 bajillion. Like you get paid more to do a fucking episode than I'll probably ever see in a year with my damn law degree, and you're doing all this shit. Like, go fuck yourself. I hate Kirk Cameron.
I can't even watch shows anymore. Like shows I used to like. But then if I know that like one of the actors in them is one of these like crazy fundies now. Like I can't even enjoy watching those shows anymore, like the reruns of them.
Well,
Yeah, like Melissa Joan Hart. Yeah, Melissa Joan Hart is another one. Like, I'm just like, what happened? Like, what the hell is wrong with it? Like, I can't even stand to see Kirk Cameron's face. I just want to punch it.
well, let me say this. There is one show that I do watch. I do like it, called Blue Bloods, with Tom Selleck and
Oh yeah.
and Donnie Wahlberg, and it's actually a good show, but I found out during the Republican primaries that Donnie Wahlberg is a big supporter of Ted Cruz.
And it ruins it for you, doesn't it?
But I still watch the show because it's a good show, and I think he plays a good character. So for me, I can overlook something like that.
Yeah,
I can overlook it.
Well, now
I can't overlook Kirk Cameron though. I don't know. It's just certain people.
The one that I cannot deal with.
Hang on, because Morgan brought something up about Kirk Cameron, and I wanted to speak to this. There was a movie that he did about. It started out with his marriage was failing. He was a firefighter, and his marriage was failing. Fireproof. That was actually a good movie, despite how insane Kirk Cameron is. The movie itself did exactly what you expected it to do. It did it well. The editing was good. The cinematography was good. It was actually a good movie. Regardless of whether or not I agree with Kirk Cameron, or regardless of whether or not I agree with the premise of the movie, I still had to give it high marks simply because it was a good cinematic effort.
Yeah, but that's
what
they're doing. That's one of their things that they're doing now, and it's been this push for like the last 5 years or so. And it's again back to the Seven Mountains to take over the entertainment industry. Okay, is that they are producing like as good quality movies as mainstream movies that are with the Christian message. I mean, this is all part of there's enough people who are good actors, good directors, good whatever to do with making movies who are fundamentalist Christians, and this is like a pretty big thing now of these movies coming out that are in mainstream venues that are, and it's these evangelical fundamentalist Christian produced movies, and it's really a sort of way of taking over that one of the Seven Mountains.
Yeah, and it's a good thing that you point that out, because this goes right back to something that has been mentioned on this show many times before, and it's something that Chris and I had discussed way back on God Discussion with the Wedge Strategy, the Center for Science and Culture at the Discovery Institute. That right there you have the blueprint for all of this with the whole Seven Mountains. It's taking over various areas of American life to bring about a theocracy.
Oh, that's so crazy.
But it's making it, it's like part of it is like the making it seem or appear to be mainstream to people who don't understand that they're, and like I said, the movie's like it's a good movie. People are going to watch it, it's kind of, I don't even know how to put it, like sucking people in by being able to.
It's bait and switch is what it is.
Mainstream.
Yeah,
like the
bait and switch.
Yeah, that's a good word for it.
Like think of like some of the big mega churches that were almost like really like malls, like there's Starbucks, everything there, bowling alley, and all this stuff is parallel. The parallel, like their own museums, the this and that. I mean, all of that stuff was kind of like, you knew definitely this was like fundamentalist Christian stuff. I mean, obviously, a creationism museum isn't a real science museum. It's their equivalent of a science museum. But now it's getting to be where, like, especially with the entertainment stuff, where it's harder and harder to tell.
Yes.
That's why it's important to read things like Carl Sagan and Thomas Paine
Yes.
and David Mills.
Somebody needs to do a Thomas Paine movie.
Oh, that'd be
That-
awesome.
I want to
That
play
would
Thomas
fucking-
Paine.
Okay.
I want to play Thomas Paine.
Are we
So
gonna produce it?
So send $10 million to Beyond the Trailer Park, and we'll be happy to make a Thomas Paine movie for you. No problem.
That'd be
If you want to
awesome.
send more than 10, you know, that's fine. But
You need,
I think
Yeah, I
we-
think that'd be awesome.
you need a GoFundMe.
Yeah, hopefully David Barton wouldn't get his hands on any of it. He'd probably be like, Thomas Paine was blah, blah, blah. And I'd just be like, oh, stop it.
fuck you. You don't mess with Thomas Paine, man. Like, no.
You don't.
And so as far as I know, they haven't tried to claim that Thomas Paine was really a Christian yet. I mean,
Yeah, because it would be
That
so
would be-
thoroughly debunked. That'd be
would-
hilarious if they did, though, because a quick Wikipedia
be
would solve that.
actually, they use they need a few people like Thomas Paine that can be heathens, so that they can use like the letters from like the other founders denouncing what they like you know, like Benjamin Franklin kind of warned Thomas Paine, like, you know, you really shouldn't publish that, you know, like so that, like, you know, they kind of need a few, like, you know, black sheep heathen kind of founders, you know, so the others can be like, you know, they can play up the others being opposed to them.
Gotcha.
So I don't think they'll ever try to like turn any of the real heathens, you know, into Christians.
Yeah.
Well, they did with like Ethan Allen was an atheist, right? They
Mhm.
try to make him come across as,
Oh, boy.
you know.
Let's see. Beth says the worst I've seen is when he was in French jail. They try to play that up that he was a heathen. Is that Paine you're talking about, Beth?
Yeah, but then who the guy that shit, this is in Liars 1. The guy who got Age of Reason published for him while he was in jail.
Right.
Wait a minute. I think I have those files on my laptop because it's going to drive me crazy if I can't remember it. The one file is done.
Yeah, I think that would be hilarious, though, if they did try to do that, because it would just be like, you've completely gone off a deep end there, buddy. And it'd just be like, everything else they say is obviously ridiculous, so it'd be a complete way to discredit them completely.
I would love to see how they would try and mess with some of Thomas Paine's stuff, like where he's like, yeah, see this, the whole like gospel's full of shit.
Verily, verily, it was full of shit.
My favorite line, and this is a complete paraphrase of him, but when he's comparing the Gospels and he points out that, you know, I think it's John that mentions the earthquakes and the zombies, and he's like talking about the other Gospels, and he basically says, how the fuck do you miss zombies and earthquakes? Like...
Yeah, that's like a big, like, that always, like, I wondered that even when I was a Christian, I was like, whoa, what? And then I guess when I had my blinders on, I was like, oh, just skip that, ignore the man behind the curtain, you know, kind of deal. But
God will tell me when I'm ready, you know.
Yeah, basically. But I remember, like, being a little bit freaked out whenever it mentioned, like, zombies in the Bible. I'd be like, oh, I don't want dead people coming out of the ground. What the fuck, God?
Yeah. And it doesn't,
like,
it doesn't matter if they're supposed to be like old dead saints and shit. Like, they're like, still going to be nasty ass disgusting. And are they going to be like going around asking for brains, amen, or what? Like, how does that work?
That's for communion.
Oh, well, it's kind of the same, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit. Literally bread and, I guess, literally body and blood. But yeah, it's just like, yeah, Thomas Paine is amazing. Like, I'm a big Thomas Paine fan. But I just think that would be hilarious if, like, you know, David Barton managed to mess with that. But
here you go, Morgan.
There should be a musical like Hamilton about Thomas Paine.
Here you go, Morgan.
Oh, that'd be good too. Oh, I love it.
I picked that up at Reason Rally.
Oh, nice.
Anybody who's listening and not watching, that's my Thomas Paine fan that I was very happy to get a hold of.
I'm a big fan of puns too, so I extra love that
Yes.
fan.
You know what? We'll have to see because they were gonna sell them on their. It's from the freethoughtsociety.org. They completely ran out of them at Reason Rally. That one was left behind by somebody at a booth, and they were packing up the booth at the end of the day, and I was sitting there waiting for some of my friends, and I was just like, they're packing up that booth, and there's a fan sitting there, and I just kind of went, is that fan yours? And the lady's like, well, one of our actors had been using it earlier. I'm like, oh, okay, that's fine. She's like, oh, did you want it? And I'm like, yes. Because I didn't get one before. I got one that was like from Sunday Assembly, which, you know, that's fine, but it wasn't the Thomas Paine fan. But we should talk about wrapping up here. I know Foda stepped out for a minute, but he'll be right back. So Chris, why don't you tell us, everybody, where they can find you, where they can find your books, and all of that fun stuff.
My books are on Amazon.
And that's
paperback and Kindle. There's the Liars for Jesus one from 10 years ago, and then the new one, Liars for Jesus Volume 2.
excellent.
And then there's the two little debunking Barton's Jefferson lies books. I'm still working on that. I'm doing a little book per chapter. I've still got 5 of those to go. Another project I need to get back to. But Liars for Jesus Volume 2, with foreword by the great Ed Brayton. That's on
Yes.
Amazon.
Awesome.
So yeah, that's my newest one.
And you do, like you said, you had Facebook, and you do some writing there right now when you have time.
Yeah, I've been kind of just on Facebook. Haven't been doing much of anything new lately, but hoping to get back to stuff soon. But Liars 2 has been out since like January, but I really just haven't been able to even do anything to promote it. So like a lot of people like don't even know it's out. Like for like 9 years, people are like, when are you gonna write the second volume? When are you gonna write the second volume? And then I get it done and I have like no way to promote it. So like people are like, you finished? It's like, yeah, it's been out since January.
We're helping where we can here. So we'll Beth said she's gonna post a bunch of links out later. And get all that information so people can just clickety click from our links here. So, well, thank you so much for joining us. It was a lot of fun. Herc was having fun too, so that's always good.
My subwoofer.
Yes. You can thank my friend Jamie from Toronto for that.
That's going to be his new nickname, subwoofer. That's it.
There you go, Jamie.
Yeah, he now has a nickname.
You have nicknamed Chris's dog Subwoofer.
That's right.
So Morgan, where can we find you?
All right. Well, you can find me every other week on the Bi Skeptical podcast with Trav Mamone. And you can find us on Stitcher, iTunes, usually wherever. And you can also follow me on Twitter at MoString, and you can find me on Facebook by Skeptical Morgan, or you can send me a friend request.
There we go. Beth will tell you that everything is linked to at Dune9998, which is her Twitter. She's nodding, yes. Major equipment issues this evening for some reason. Don't know why that is, but whatever. Murphy fucking hates us. And happy to report, though, Miss Ashley and Bobby's place was unscathed. They weren't even sure till yesterday if they had a home to go home to, but they do. So that's good, but there's just no cable or internet, although they do have power. So that's more than what some people have. which is good. So hopefully Ashley will be with us next week, and we don't have anything planned specifically yet then, but Friday, people, we are on a special day and time because Hemet Mehta, the friendly atheist, is going to join us for an hour.
Ooh.
So that's why we are on a special day and time, because he has a small baby and these like late hours don't really work for him, which I can totally understand. So I told him we will go to your time. That's totally fine. So that's going to be Friday afternoon at 2 p.m. Eastern. And Hemet's going to come on, and we're going to chit-chat about him and his books and his blog and his all the other stuff that he does. He's a busy guy. You'd be surprised. I got to meet him just before I left on vacation. He came to Canada to speak, and I was able to hang out with him for a while, so that was kind of cool. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, which we kind of truncated because I was having all those camera issues. Excuse me. I just got back from visiting the wilds of America, down in the South. Was down to see Miss Ashley and Bobby, and we traveled. We actually kind of raced the hurricane up the coast because we hit up to the Outer Banks of North Carolina, and we did Virginia Beach and the Chesapeake Bay Bridge and tunnels, which was kind of cool. Excuse me, all on a motorcycle, which we usually do when we travel. Wet my throat there, but see, it's that Murphy fucker again. And if Oda would hurry up and come back from wherever he's doing, we could tell us where we find him too. But I will stall until he gets here, because he said he would be a quote few minutes. Oy.
Don't die on us.
I'm trying not to. But we had a great time down at the wedding. Got to hang out with Callie and Celeste. That was really awesome. Human. Got to meet the DeWitts. They're quite the pair, Jerry and his wife. Dang it. So let's see, who else did we have there? It was oh, of course, Shelley Siegel, who came and performed and hung out with us. There were 7 women holed up in an RV trailer the night before the wedding, and Shelley sang for us, so that was really, really awesome. Shelley's just a delight at any time. So yeah, we had a really good trip. Kind of glad to be back, although it's fucking cold. It's Canada, but seriously, I got like 2 extra weeks of summer, and I come home to frost warning. Not impressed. But anyway. But yeah, so like I said, Friday, Hemet Mehta. Oh, and of course, as we always do, we want to mention the Taylor Scholarship over at the Whitefields Educational Foundation. Whitefields Educational Foundation provides counseling for people who are trying to leave religion or have left religion. And the Taylor Scholarship, which was started by David Michael of My Book of Mormon, raises money to help people who can't afford to pay for that counseling but still need it. So if you feel the urge, you can donate to them. There's a link in our show description, and that's whitefieldseducational.org/My Book of Mormon podcast. Very worthy cause. There are lots of people, many of you out there who have left religion will probably appreciate that counseling could be helpful, and they do a good job of providing it for sure. We also have a Patreon, so if you feel inclined to throw us a bit of cash, you can do per show or a one-time gesture. That would be awesome too. We do pay for Spreaker so that we can broadcast and hold all of our archives on there. We were running out of space and we upgraded and now we have lots of space, but we do have to pay for that stuff. So every little bit will help. And of course, we will be here next week. We'll figure out what fabulous topic we will come up with then. Miss Ashley should hopefully be back. And there's Foda, and he can tell us where he can be found before we sign off.
Right here sitting on my damn couch.
Yeah, okay. But don't have like a Twitter and some shit like that.
Yes, you can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/dave.photo. You can find me on Twitter at davephoto, no spaces, dashes, or dots. And I also have a new public page for Dave Photo that will also be on Facebook. It's not yet populated. I'm kind of still working on it a little bit, but that's where I will probably be posting most of my anti-religious screeds from now on, rather than on my personal page. Though the politics will still appear on my page.
Yes. And the porn. Don't forget that.
Oh, well, I can't publish any pictures.
No. We're talking written porn, people. Well, if anybody's stumbled across this page at any time, you probably already knew that.
Definitely.
All right. Well, Chris, thank you again for joining us. And we will sign off as we always do with Foda telling us is best creed for humankind as always. And we will see everyone on Friday with Hemet Meta. So don't miss it.